Hi, this is Falicia SamKing, and this is Faye Talks Mental Health of the African Diaspora. And I have my friend here, and he is going to talk about how he was affected of the Sierra Leone Civil War. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ahmad James Conteh. I go by African Pope. I'm an actor, comedian. I was born and raised in Sierra Leone, moved to the US 5 years ago, and I've been here, and it's an experience, and I'm learning, progressing as the day goes by.
I see us matching with the dashikis.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I was like, we repping. We need to represent.
mhm. All right, so let's get started with the questions. The first question is, how old were you when the Civil War happened in Sierra Leone?
Um, well, the one that I have knowledge of, because the Civil War was in Sierra Leone even before I was born, because I was born in '93. Um, but like according to the stories that I had, they've been fighting in the villages even before I was born. But like I had an experience of the Civil War when I was like 6, 7, because I remember the first attack that happened when my grandmother was trying to like hide us under the bed and trying to use every necessary bed sheets or pillowcases she had to block under the bed outside. Like she asked us to go under the bed. So I think I was like
Mm,
6, 7. Yeah,
wow. And where did you
yeah.
live at the time?
At that time, I was living in Maboka, in Tsankolili district. So I was living there when the first attack happened, the one that I have knowledge of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the next question was, what did your parents do, and how did that affect you mentally? And I know that you said that your grandmother told you to go under the bed, but when you
Yeah.
went under the bed, what was going through your mind at that time?
At that time, when my grandmother was asking us to go under the bed, like I didn't had a uh, um fairness of what was going around. I just feel like, okay, my grandma asked me to go under the bed, let me go under the bed because she wanted to go under the bed. So
Mm,
like we was under the bed, if I can remember vividly, we was even like giggling under the bed, me and my cousins, because we didn't like really understand. Then I think after we came out under the bed, we see some of our neighbors who were attacked, who they took their daughters, who were crying, and it starts to get in our like senses that, hey, this is not something good, this is something bad. Because at the first time you see some your cousin, your neighbors are lying on the street dead, and you start to realize that this is a human being lying
mhm,
on the street. This is somebody that we used to go to their house to play, to talk, and now they are dead. So
mhm,
like it was hard to take in first, because just imagine as a 6 year or 7 year old kid to see something like that. And the experiences that start to come in like every other day, the attacks that start coming in, rebels start coming to our house, taking some of our cousins to join them, and all those stuff were like hard for us to take in. But like after the Civil War, the Rebel War, when we finally made it to Freetown, it was hard. But like as a Sierra Leonean, as an African, you never had a chance to talk to anyone about that, because first of all, you're not boy picking. Like whenever I want to talk about something like that, it's why I act like a female? Why the male woman? So
mhm,
you understand. So like we never had a chance to talk about it to anyone, because I have a one or two experiences that I'll never forget. I remember we was coming from Maboka, trying to make it to the city, to Freetown. Then we were attacked. Then my brother's suitcase, my elder brother's suitcase at the time, the rebel was trying to take it away from him. Then he was like grabbing it tight, trying to fight for his suitcase. The rebel used the gun, the AK-47, and hit him on his head. He was bleeding, and like everyone was crying, everyone was begging. Like before you know, the rebels were like all up on him, trying to like get his kids out of him. They were beating him so hard, and that affects his hairs up to now. Like every 1 or 2 months, is like he cry pain, so like he has something that comes out of his ears. So we are affected. We are affected emotional, sorry, emotionally, and I believe a lot of us that experience what we experience, we are going through it, we are dealing with it every day, but we just don't know how to talk about it because, as I always say, Sierra Leoneans, Africans in general, you don't eat, you have a roof over your head, so why are you
Mm,
complaining?
right.
Yeah.
You already answered number 4. You explaining something that happened to you that was very traumatic, and I
Mhm.
seen it on your face and in your voice how that affected you. The last question that I wanted to ask you is: do you believe more mental health services should be in Sierra Leone,
Oh,
and why?
definitely, 100%, 100%. I'm even working with some of the young people that I know here that through comedy I'll get to meet a lot of people that I'm talking to about that. Like, it will be good for us to have this knowledge and understanding to push it all the way to Sano for the youth and the young ones there to be able to get the services that we had now.
Mm,
Because, for instance, there are kids that were used as labels that were given drugs to, they give guns to, they give alcohol and weed to. Then they did terrible things. They never had therapy. They never had somebody to talk to them to help them out, to help them get out of that trauma, those nightmares they encounter. And they
mm,
are living out there in the open world, and they are using all those memories and all those bad things they did when they were part of the rebels.
mm-hmm,
And because when you go to Sierra Leone, you see every day the argument, you see 1 or 2 young boys talking about, oh, give me a knife, I'll stab you, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, a lot of these kids, we are like 7, 8, 9, 10. They were rebels. We know them. Some of them were our friends. Some of them were like dating or coming around in our neighborhood. We know them, we see them. We know this one was a rebel. But now they're out there, they don't have parents, they don't have nobody to help them out. They are fighting their demons all by themselves.
mm-hmm,
We need to come there and say, hey, listen, I understand your pain, I feel your pain. I will talk to you, I will listen to you, I will not judge you, because that's the other thing about us. I remember um, when I first came here to America and I had a conversation with a family member about something different, that it was like, okay, why you talk about that now? In that up and down. So like I feel like those are the same things that a lot of people are afraid of. That's why a lot of people are afraid to come out and talk about their experience and their mental issues, because we don't listen to understand, we listen to judge.
mm.
So we should just like sit down and patiently listen to these people and like be with them with their pains and try to tell them that, hey, there is a light after the tunnel. Be strong. Like, tell them something that will make them believe in hope.
Mm. And that's my whole thing. I know that you follow me on my Instagram,
Yeah.
and I've seen that a lot of people talk about mental health, but they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Especially for Sierra Leone, I don't see pages like that. I see Ghana trying to do something. I see Nigeria
Mhm.
trying to do something. And then when I try to search up pages for Sierra Leone, I didn't see that as well. So I was like, you know what? Me knowing how when my father came over, because I was born in America, but
Mhm.
so the fact that I see my father and how he was acting and the things that he would use so he could calm himself down, like alcohol and stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I see it everywhere. And the stuff that my dad did to me did affect me as well mentally. And then if it wasn't for my school counselor to help me, I wouldn't have had the mental health issues that I had, like, with therapy and everything.
Mhm.
So I'm like, at least I had the access to go and get it. I could
Yeah.
only imagine people back home that are schizophrenic, that has PTSD, and it's not just the war that affected them; it was the mudslide and the Ebola
Mhm. Mhm.
outbreak. So I
Yeah, I
was
was there
like,
too. I was there
yeah,
during the Ebola crisis, and I was part of the people that was helping with the burial and the Ebola task force. And that Ebola is another issue. Like,
mm-hmm,
the the crisis itself and the damages that Ebola left is still affecting a lot of people from until now. Because there's a friend of mine that like I still try to help as much as I can. That like his whole family, his dad, his stepmom, his sisters, the whole house, everybody died. He was the only survivor in the house. And I remember after that happened, nobody was like going around his house or around him. When we was hanging out with him, there are people that was like, "Oh, they can't die. You know, okay, Ebola. It's now the one man don't die. Now swear them. Now thunder swear like all those things." But like we were still going out there. We were still hanging out with him. We was like playing with him, joking with him, laughing with him, and I'll not say it's okay, but like he's still fighting. He's still putting on a smile every day to move on and try to live his life as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your story. I thank you so much for, because have you ever had these conversations with people when it comes to the problems in Sierra Leone?
Well, in private, yeah, in private, I do. Like, never had them in public with anyone, but like, probably with like close friends, like just like I was saying, I talked to some people because I'm planning to make a show in the DMV around August. We are talking about probably 30 to 40% of whatever comes out. We should like try to invest it in resources like that so we can help the young ones, the youth in Sierra Leone.
That's good. I thank you so much for talking
You're
to me.
welcome. You're
Is there
welcome.
anything else that you would like to talk about?
Well, I feel like the other problems in the Sierra Leone community is sexual assault in general, right? I feel like we should put the same effort we are putting in fighting for the women. We should put it for like men also, because there are a lot of guys out there that are molested and go through the same experience women are going through. But like, as a man, when you come out and say it, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, there was a time I was talking to somebody. I was like, I was 11 when I was introduced to sex by a family member. Then somebody was there, a lady who is a good lady. It was like, enjoy 'em. I was like, if this was a lady that said this, would you have asked her this question? Like, just because I'm a man or we are men does not mean that we don't have emotion, does not mean that we don't go through our own demons. This is why a lot of times people say, "Oh, men don't talk about their issues." Like, how do you supposed to talk when we talk about what is bugging us? Instead of you guys to like try to understand, to make it like, "Oh yeah, you're not man, you're in job." It's like, as Africans, Sierra Leonean, the only way we can like defeat sexual issues or sexual conduct or sexual molestations, we should put the same effort we are putting in the female aspects and bring in the men aspects so that they also can, be helped and secure that even though you're a man, you should not go through that.
Exactly. And this is why mental health services need to be in Sierra Leone, because
Yeah.
you also have to think about that person that abused the victim is sick, and then the person that was abused need help as well because something traumatically happened to them. And the only reason why I'm doing this public is because, like you said, not a lot of Africans talk about their problems. And if they see people like us that are African talking, then the conversation will be going in the households.
You are. You are. You are. Thank you very much for giving me this platform and for bringing up something like this, because it only takes one or two of us to start something then and continue it. So everybody else, the young ones, the youth in our communities, we understand that we can join hands together and make a change. Because if we don't help ourselves, nobody will help us. We just need to come together and understand that we need each other. We need to help each other.
Okay, and what's your Instagram?
African Pope. African Pope.
All right. Thank you for having this conversation with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.